From the time Oregon was a territory at the end of a trail, citizens have relied on banks to help settle the West. From the start, Oregonians have relied on banks to keep their money safe and for loans to stake a piece of land, build a house, or start a business. In many ways, Oregon has been built with banks as a partner. Today is no different. Although our state and nation are faced with economic turmoil, Oregon banks continue to support their customers now, as they always have.
It all starts with having the deposits come into our bank that we're able in turn to lend out to businesses that are able to do something meaningful with those loans.
And now, as always, those deposits are safe.
It's really important in this environment for our customers to be comfortable that their money is safe in their bank.
One of the greatest aspects of traditional banks is that they're about the safest place one could ever put their funds. And in fact, no depositor has ever lost a dime of FDIC-insured deposits, even in the most challenging economic times.
And now, contrary to some media reports, Oregon banks are still lending, helping Oregonians fulfill their dreams.
Our bank increased our loan totals by 8% in the year 2008. It's the fastest growing portion of our balance sheet.
U.S. Bank had a 13% year-over-year growth in loans in 2008 over 2007.
In 2008, we grew loans a little more than 16%.
I think most business owners would tell you that if it hadn't been for a banker taking a risk with them and believing in them, that they would never have gotten to where they are today.
That first meeting we ever had, that same person continues to be our main contact at the bank to this day.
It's those relationships between depositors and borrowers which make traditional banks unique. And there are regulations to keep your money safe. This is part of what sets Wall Street and Main Street apart.
I find it can be frustrating to hear companies that are not banks referred to as banks in this environment. Traditional banks have a great deal of regulation, and what's most important, they have holistic relationships with their customers. They're here for the long haul, and they're really part of the solution to the economic challenges we're facing.
I think the banks are much stronger than they were in the 80s. Their balance sheets are better prepared for an economic downturn.
Now what you're going to see is a return to that traditional banking approach. That's still here. It's alive and well. It never went anywhere. It just wasn't in vogue. And so we're now back in fashion again. I think that's the exciting part about what's happening.
And what's happening doesn't end with deposits and loans. The health of Oregon banks is a reflection of the communities in which they thrive. So banks have had a long tradition of giving back in many ways, both big and small.
We do business here. We enjoy giving back to the community, and we like to see the money continue to be cycled back around and within our state.
Banks share a tremendous amount of their financial resources with their communities.
We recently surveyed Oregon banks and found that in 1 year alone they reported making in excess of $11 million of charitable donations to organizations around the state and reported hundreds of thousands of hours of volunteer time.
Last year, our bankers contributed their time of about 6,500 hours to over 125 organizations in the markets in which we have a presence.
Banking is one of those professions or organizations that is fully integrated into any community. At the root of community involvement, you will find banks.
It's the nature of Oregon to follow the creed, leave the campsite better than you found it. No one believes that more than our Oregon bankers. Why are they so committed to the communities they serve? Because it's their community too.